This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard with you live downtown Vegas. Circa Resort and Casino is your spot, and we have a 3-hour banger lined up today. We'll hit, I think this is actually the best NBA card that we've had in months, dare I say. You got none of the tanking BS going on tonight. You got 6 legitimately good games, with teams that actually care. So we'll hit that multiple times. And phenomenal guest today, including Eddie Olczyk, big NHL card tonight as well. He's on in 30 minutes. Gavin McCarthy, dynamite previews and write-ups on college basketball games. We'll preview the Final Four in an hour with him. Jay Billis in 90 minutes. Doug Kazarian as well, and Steve Wiss with some best bets in soccer this weekend. Let's begin with the aforementioned NBA card tonight. And we'll get to Lakers Thunder here in a minute, but we have to start with what took place last night, tied into tonight, with Wemby going absolutely bonkers in that game and planting his flag yet again. And it was a great spot to do it against the Warriors, who were without basically everybody. I don't know how this NBA MVP thing is going to turn out, but man, is he making a great case for it. 41 points, 18 rebounds, 4 blocks. He played 28 minutes.
That's the other thing. That should be used in his favor and part of his argument.
That's how I totally agree.
LeBron has played more minutes than he has, and some people are using it as a negative.
Yeah, how?
I can't believe it. There was a special up at FanDuel, 35 and 14 paid plus 875. Oh. And then we talked about it yesterday. You have to ladder this because he's on a mission. 40 points was almost 6-1. 35 points tonight at Caesars is plus 425. He's down to plus 225 to win the MVP. And the other thing you can look at is 5 games in a row, he's had at least 15 rebounds. 15 rebounds tonight pays 225. So they had an easy time of it. Some people might be concerned about the back-to-back. It does seem like a fishy line against the Clippers. But his numbers and his stats and this 26-2 run as a team, it's great what they're doing. And I would only look to ladder him again, points and rebounds, based on how well he's playing, which also begs the question, what if he plays a lot of minutes?
All right, no kidding. I do have some concerns about tonight, actually. So let me point this out and see if you want to give me the Mutombo and reject it out of my face, that's fine. They did play the Clippers twice this year. He did, actually. Both of those came in March. He had 21, 13, and 4 blocks over 34 minutes. That came in a 4-point win. And then there was that crazy game in a back-to-back where they were dead and buried.
They're down 25.
And they came all the way back. They won that game by 4. Remember that game? He was bending over after the game, and he said, I've never put that much into a game in my entire life. He had 27, 10, and 4 blocks, only played 22 minutes because of the back-to-back. So the Clippers have done a pretty good job on him throughout the year. But I agree with you. Like, we're going to get this Lakers-Thunder game going on first. It's not going to be over with. And SGA is probably going to have a great game tonight because he wants to plant his flag for this award as well. And then Wemby's probably going to come out and match him yet again. I played 30-plus, and I think it was plus, I'll double-check, but I think it was plus 190 today to have 30-plus points in the game tonight. Hasn't gotten to that mark against the Clippers yet this year, but you nailed this yesterday, Paulie, to point that out on the program. Like, he wants it, ladder him, and I'll go back to that one more time here.
SGA is plus 130 to have 35. He's 3-1 to have 40 and 8-1 to have 45. So you're right about that the games will be going on at the same time. The other thing is the Clippers are off for poor performance.
Right.
Losing at home to Portland as they're trying to lock up this at least the 8 seed. And if they wouldn't have played with their food, they would have caught Phoenix and had the 7. So, again, there's a big difference between the 8 and the 9 seed. And certainly Lou and Van Gundy, no defense. And if they can slow him down and at least contain him tonight, he should get a big effort from the Clippers. But it still seems low. They're just how well they're playing. And not to mention, they have the appetizer Saturday. After this, they go to Denver and play the Nuggets at noon on Amazon.
Yeah.
So all the opportunities to see this guy on the big stage. And the blocks have been there. The rebounds have been there. Everything's been there. So I have to keep riding the Spurs here and think the number's short, even though the Clippers have done well against them. And Kawhi didn't play in the last game, and they still hung in there and got the money. But you can also start with SGA and ladder, and you can come right back with Wemby, too. How these guys are, I'll show you. And I'll try to one-up you based on this great award and the back and forth and the incredible. And I wouldn't put Luka out either. I mean, that's the other. Not that he should win the award, but the run that Luka's on. I mean, how do you want to ladder Luka? Props. He's 3-1 to score 40. He's averaging 36 a game in the month of March.
I would also maybe look at first quarter numbers with him, props.
Yeah.
Because he comes out, and a lot of these games, he's got like 15 at the end of the first quarter. Pretty much plays the entire time. Now, Oklahoma City's defense is another story. And by the way, this is like the first true test we're going to get between these two teams. I say that because it's only the third game. They have one more coming up on the schedule before the end of the regular season. On November 12th at Oklahoma City, the Thunder won 121-92. No LeBron in that game. Luke also did not play well. He had 19 points, 7 of 20 in 33 minutes. He was minus 31 in the box score. Reeves had 13 on 4 at 12 in 30 minutes. He was minus 24 in the game. And on February 9th in LA, the Thunder won 119-110. SGA did not play. There was also no Luka. That game was actually close.
This is a completely different team.
100%. I throw both those games out.
Yeah, and people were taking shots at LeBron, and they're better off without him, and they can't figure that. Well, they figured this out when the big three are on the floor together. So since they've been on the floor going back, they've outscored their opponents 9 points per game, and they're on a 12-2 run. They also added Kennard at the deadline, which is big. Number one in the NBA, 49% from three. And during March, when they went 15-2, and Luka averaged almost 37 a game, 123 points per 100 possessions when he's on the floor. That's insanity. How great this. So you're going against the number one defense. It's a great test. I'm shocked at the line. I know this is a great team, but they're laying 9 at home. The Lakers did get them last year.
You're shocked you think it's too high?
Yeah, I think it's too high, yes, especially how well the Lakers are playing. Last year, late in the season, the Lakers went there and blasted them. There was a game where it was raining threes. Then they played again. And that's the game that was tight with 5 minutes left, and the official thought Luka was talking to him and kicked him out of the game when he was yelling at a fan. So it's a great measuring stick and a great litmus test to see you've been awesome, you're beating playoff teams, your resume's incredible, you should get the 3 seed. Let's see how they stack up tonight as OKC's trying to stick to 1.
Caruso is questionable, and he was awesome the time that they played in February when SGA did not go. Isaiah Joe was also great off the bench. He had 19 in that game. Marcus Smart out for the Lakers again tonight.
That's why you've seen over movement, too.
Yeah.
As Aaron Renning said last week, he loves to play Laker games over when Smart isn't there.
Yeah. I think if this, now it opened 8.5, got to 9.5. It's at 9 right now here at Circa. If this goes back up, Paul, I would also look. I mean, I'd take 9.5 or 10 absolutely with the Lakers. 9, I'd probably still go that way as well. I just want to see which way the market's going to go. And again, they have to run it back again in a couple of days.
Yeah.
So, is the SGA prop too obvious tonight? It's 30.5. It's been bet. The juice is like minus 130. In fact, if you want to just say, will he get to 30 points, it's minus 160, I believe.
No, not obvious. This is great with the tit for tat here and what's going on with these two stars.
He scored exactly 30 in the one game he played against the Lakers this year.
And the other thing got to be, what whistle does he get? And is it a parade to the free throw line, which might be the case. But you're also going against the Lakers. And who gets a better whistle than the Lakers?
Yeah.
Maybe Duke, and that's it. But the Lakers, they also attack the rack, but they're right up there and always getting calls.
How about Luka threes, too?
Yeah.
I mean,
he's been efficient, and he takes a lot of them.
He'll take a dozen tonight, probably.
Right. And a big game for the Buzz City Killers. You can do this.
Which is what?
Get at least the 8 seed, maybe the 7.
That's definitely in play.
And it really helps you. Now, the odds have swung. Now they're minus 150 to make the playoffs because Orlando and Miami keep losing. So, in Toronto with an atrocious loss. Oh, we lost the tank parlay, the only team that screwed us. You can't lose at home to the Kings when you're trying to make. Now they're going to be in the play-in. That's an awful loss.
I mean, the playoffs are right around the corner. You're playing a team that was 1-23 against the A-League the last 24 times out, and you trailed pretty much the entire game.
I know. They cut it to 1, and then they pulled away late.
What the hell was that?
I know. So you're only 2 back behind Toronto, so maybe you could get the 7. But if you get the 8, that certainly changes things as well because you get 2 kicks at the can. So those odds have flipped too. And it's not that the schedule's that difficult. And it's also hard to look at the final 4 games, who's going to play, who's clinched what in that business too. But it's a doable schedule for the Hornets the rest of the way. Then maybe they could get the 7.
Yeah. Luke, who'd you say is out tonight? Wemby's out tonight.
Oh, come on.
Wemby's out tonight. Just came down 30 seconds ago. Where's the number at right now? I'm hold on. I'm in front of the screen. Yeah, Clippers. No wonder why. It's sliding up like a firecracker. I didn't even see it. Clippers are now favored by 1.5. Move just like that.
What do you think of that?
How many games can he miss? That's a big factor
I know,
here.
that's
How many more
another
games can he
big
miss?
factor.
Is it?
Yes.
Is he down to 3 games?
Oh man, yes.
That factors into awards.
They just pulled MVP too at Caesars.
Right. All right. Follow the money.
It was an easy game last night. Vicious beat. Yeah, you laid the 14.5, but they were in total control.
Can you get their schedule? I want to know how many more back-to-backs they have.
I think this is it. Saturday they go to Denver.
In the meantime, hold on.
Right.
Follow the Money is brought to you by Profit X. Sign up today, make your first purchase, and earn a bonus up to $100 in bonus cash. Download the Profit X app and use the code VSINMM.
Monday, home to the Sixers. Wednesday, home to Portland. Friday, home to Dallas. Sunday, they close the season at home to Denver.
Well, then that's why they're holding them out tonight. It's the last back-to-back of the year. That's my assumption. Doesn't that make a little bit of sense? Man, that sucks. That really...
And it's a big break for the Clippers. Huge break.
Okay, so then we absolutely have to look at these books and what they're going to do with MVP numbers, too. Because I believe the straw poll comes out tomorrow.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Righty.
Total's got to jump up, too.
Is there much of an... Yeah, right. Is there much of an adjustment now on the MVP race?
Yeah, I agree with Caesars pulling it. That's big.
All right, coming up, we're going to get to, more of the NBA and MLB as well. We'll update the live betting numbers for this Twins-Royals game, discuss some bets for the 2 games later on tonight. We have a birthday boy who has crushed this team throughout his career. Find out which player next here on VSiN.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. With VSiN Pro, you get access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Big card tonight. Busy in the National Hockey League off a gigantic upset last night as the Vancouver Canucks, worst team in the league, went to Colorado and won by a score of 8-6. Are you serious? Eddie Olczyk, the great Eddie Olczyk, joins the program now, and he is on the Progressive guest line. Good afternoon, Eddie. You were on the game in San Jose last night. Thanks for the time today. How are you?
Hey, Mitch, Paulie, nice to be with you guys. Thanks for having me. Yeah, we had a hell of a game in San Jose last night. Actually, just take people inside a little bit. We actually, on TNT, our schedule originally had us going to LA for the Blues and Kings. And look, the Kings end up going into the last wild card position last night with that win over the Blues. But as a company, our bosses decided to switch the game, and it ended up being a heck of a game, and we saw Macklin Celebrini at his very, very best with a 4-point night and a couple of goals. So it was great to be there. It was really electric in the Shark Tank, and they still have given themselves a chance to get into the playoffs. So I was watching a scoreboard. I actually gave a scoreboard update there during the game last night, and said that Vancouver had put up a snowman on the Avalanche, and it was kind of hard to really look at it and believe that had happened. But as you guys know, in the game of hockey, sometimes that puck bounces a certain way, and it doesn't matter if you're first place or dead last. You're going to have games like that, and certainly without seeing anything, it kind of feels it feels like it was one of those games for the Avalanche, who put up 9 the game before against Calgary, and that's just the game of hockey. So yeah, that's obviously a major upset, and especially putting up 8 goals against the Avalanche.
So then what do you think tonight? Here you go with Vancouver, 52 points on the year, by far the worst team in the league. Just accomplished that. That was their Stanley Cup final, basically, and now they have to play again tonight against Minnesota.
Yeah.
Horrific spot. So what do you make of it?
Yeah. I it's one of those, without watching a game last night, Mitch, I mean, it's kind of hard to, because you could play good as a team, and sometimes your goalie just doesn't, he just doesn't have it, or it's sometimes it just, like I said, the puck will bounce a certain way, and then you gotta be able to get back, right into it. But I mean, for Vancouver going into mini, I mean, it's on platter there for the Wild. I mean, it is. I mean, it's there for them for the taking. And do you expect Vancouver to get, put another, 5 or 6 goals up on the board? I wouldn't. But it would kind of feel like, to me, this would be a game where, Mini has their way early and can kind of ride to the finish line. So something like maybe like a 5-2 or a 6-2 type of game in favor of the Wild.
There's a lot of great stories with teams. There's a bizarre story in our backyard here. You've never been a part of this, but how about 3 weeks left in the season, less than 2 years removed from winning a cup, Vegas fires Cassidy. Can you, as a former player, what are the signs that you lose the dressing room and lose the team, and just your whole thoughts on firing the guy now?
Yeah. I mean, look, Bruce Cassidy is as good as a coach there is in the National Hockey League. And look, if I was running a team right now and I was a team that was maybe in flux or had an interim coach or was thinking about making a change at some point, Bruce Cassidy is not going to be on the open market for very long. I would make a move and I would bring him in right now. If I knew he was the guy, I would bring him in right now and solidify that position, and you're set for the next 5-6 years. It is hard to believe, but George McPhee and Kelly McCrimmon, the brass of the Vegas Golden Knights, they just didn't wake up Sunday morning, Paulie, as you know, and Mitch. They just didn't wake up and go, okay, well, we're going to fire Butch here, and I'm sure it was probably on the table for a little while. The team hasn't been the same, really since the Olympic break. Now, in fairness to the coach and to the team, the goaltending has been a sore spot, and they've been chasing a lot of games, and their overtime record hasn't been all that great. So it's happened before. I mean, I remember in New Jersey with the Devils back, I think it was Robbie Ftorek was the coach, and then the legendary Hall of Famer, the great Larry Robinson, came in under Lou Lamoriello, the president and general manager, and I think they ended up winning the Stanley Cup. So, I mean, it is odd, it is strange, but I'm sure that the Vegas Golden Knights brass and Mr. Foley, the owner of the team, they probably felt like a change was needed or was coming, but I think that they were hoping against hope that the team would turn it around. And they did look flat for a long, for long periods of time. And going into the playoffs, would you feel okay as an organization doing that, or do you think a change was needed? Now, you could argue about acquisitions. You could argue about injuries. How bad do they miss William Karlsson? Let's put that out there. I mean, Wild Bill is a huge part of that team, especially at center ice. So long-winded, it sucks. It's not fair, but everybody understands the role. And as an organization, you get paid to make those decisions. If you don't feel you're going to be able to take that step that you want with the guy you have behind the bench, regardless of the resume, you're going to do what you feel is right. And then obviously they will be judged accordingly, but Bruce Cassidy will not be out of work very long, and we'll see how it all plays out. So yeah, it was a little bit, I shouldn't say it was a surprise, because you kind of heard, I'd heard some rumors and speculation, but then the longer you went in the year, Mitch, Paulie, to the heart of your question, it was like, well, maybe they're just going to give him a chance. And he did win a cup for him a couple of years ago. And next thing you know, it's a change, and Torts comes in, and we'll see how it all plays out. And obviously they got off to a good start the other night against Vancouver.
Buffalo's going to end this drought. What do you think of Buffalo's chances in the playoffs?
Why not? Why not? They've got size. They've got speed. They seem to be playing with a boatload of confidence. They're defending much better than they were earlier in the year. Now the question is, will they be able to adjust to come playoff time? Because as we've said over the years when I've been on your guys' show, the rink gets a little smaller come playoff time. The rink shrinks. And when that happens, things happen a lot quicker. Everybody's taking their game up to another level. Can you play that type of style and play that type of game in the playoffs? And I'll be honest, like, they've had a little bit of a pothole here. I know they came back and beat Seattle the other day when they were down 2 Cobb going into third, and they had lost the game, I think, the night before. And I think they maybe lost 3 or 4. Don't quote me, but they had a little bit of a blip because they went on a 35 or a 40 game heater where they only lost 4 games in regulation, which is absolutely unheard of. I actually think that's good. I don't know if you want to be going into the playoffs on a 50 game heater where you've only lost 7 games in regulation. So I think it's good. I think it's good to get knocked down every once in a while. Yeah, they want to get first place in a division and let Tampa play whoever they have to is a second place team. But that looks like it's going to go right down to the wire. But the question mark is A, can they do it in the playoffs? And then B, more importantly, is can they get the goaltending? And that would probably be, the biggest question mark. The one thing I will say is I've had a boatload of people ask me, and I happened to be in town on the weekend. My wife and I celebrated her birthday at the Eagles concert, by the way, at the Sphere, and that was absolutely incredible. So, the talk around the Red Rock was, like, what's your thoughts on Ottawa? And I'll be honest with you, and I know Ottawa's on the outside looking in right now in the Eastern Conference, but I think that they have the type of team is that if they just, they get in, the question mark there too is their health on the back end. I mean, they're so banged up on the back end right now, but it sounds like, and I'm hearing that they're going to get healthy on the back end. A, can they get in? But B, is the goaltending, can the goaltending be good enough? And I think it can if they are healthy, because they're not going to give up 15 quality scoring chances a game if their defense is healthy. They're only going to give up maybe 9 or 10. I think Ottawa in the Eastern Conference, where I think it's Tampa, and I think it's Tampa and everybody else, to be honest with you. That's my feeling. But if Ottawa can somehow get in, I think that Ottawa could really make some hay in the playoffs. Now, whether or not they get in, that's another story. But if they do, I would say keep an eye on the Ottawa Senators, because I just think that they have a team that's built for the playoffs, but they got to get in.
Very good. Eddie, you're the best. As always, thanks so much for the time. We appreciate that.
Okay, guys. Talk to you soon. Thanks.
Appreciate you. We're brought to you by ProfitX. New users get a side-up bonus of up to $100 in bonus cash just for getting started with code VSINMM. Make one play of $50 or more on any Masters market, win or lose, and earn an entry to win a $1,000 golf prize of your choice, a club, a round of golf, or a gift card to any golf apparel brand. Win or lose on your play, you're in the running. Download the app now, ProfitX, code VSINMM. Make your first purchase, earn that bonus, and get in on the action at Augusta. Download ProfitX today, code VSINMM.
It was Eddie Olczyk on the Progressive Guest Line. Up next, win some, lose some.
Banger. The
tanking parlay was a loser, and Wemby went bonkers with his props. Paulie has the details coming up next.
This is VSIN, the Sports Betting Network.
Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSIN.
Welcome in. Follow the Money is brought to you by ProfitX, where new users can earn a sign-up bonus up to $100 in bonus cash. Download ProfitX and use the code VSINMM to get started. Busy hour on deck. Thanks for checking in today on YouTube TV, listening on Sirius XM channel 158, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, or any of our great affiliates. Jay Billis on the Final Four coming up in 30 minutes. And right now we go out to the Progressive Guest Line. Our next guest on today's program has recently exploded with his breakdowns and previews of college basketball games on X. You can follow him there at Buried Trays. And Gavin McCarthy is kind enough to pop on the show today. Good to meet you, Gavin. Thanks for the time. How are you?
Yeah, doing well. Great to meet you guys as well. Appreciate you having me on. Always happy to talk hoops, and especially it's nice to talk it from a little bit more of kind of a betting angle, considering some of the comments we're getting just for the last couple of weeks. But yeah, happy to break these games down. A couple of the, best games we'll have all year, obviously, and of the highest stakes.
Sure, no doubt. We're going to get to those coming up in a second. I asked you this off the air, but I'll ask you on the air as well. So a buddy of mine sent me like your Twitter handle a couple of weeks ago, and he's like, "Hey, have you followed this guy yet?" And I'm like, I haven't seen anything. And you had like around 1,500 followers, and I looked, and I'm like, oh my God, his previews on X are absolutely incredible and must-read stuff. And you went from 1,500 to where you're at right now in a couple of weeks to like, I don't know, 25,000. Was there one scenario or one preview that you had that absolutely like put you on the map and people started to follow?
If there was one that really did it, it was definitely the Houston, Illinois preview, where I kind of detailed in excruciating, finite fashion that, Illinois was a really tough matchup for Houston, and took some pretty strong stances and took my lashings from some of the Houston faithful that thought I was out of my mind. But that's kind of really what started things. And, then kind of people start looking through the other at the time Sweet 16 games. So, yeah, then it kind of all just starts to snowball a little bit, and everything kind of goes from there.
I don't know if this is the younger generation or what, but these are the best breakdowns I've ever seen. But some of the responses, like you said, I guess reading is hard. For the complaints about, boy, that's a lot to read. That blew my mind that those are some of the responses.
Yeah, it's long form's not for everybody, especially probably the younger generation, as you mentioned. So yeah, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, and if people don't like it, that's okay. There's just so many ways to skin the cat in 2026 in betting. I'm not going to be the one to say that I have all the answers and I have the only way to do it. So
now, do you bet college basketball exclusively, or do you spread out on other sports through like in the off season for that sport?
I mean, really, I'm only betting college basketball for 95% of my account bets. I'll probably rattle off over 2,000 bets by the time we get to the end of the season. Just between props, I'm doing DFS, anything I can get my hands on in the college basketball space, I'm trying to do.
Okay, so overall, when it comes to your handicap, is it mostly crunching numbers? How much is it like maybe watching games or other variables that would go into it?
It always begins with the numbers. It's kind of a way to keep yourself tethered to a reality that doesn't let your eyes kind of fool or bias you in one form or fashion. Mm-hmm. Now, watching the games certainly tends to help. You might pick up on things like different defensive wrinkles that, teams are implementing maybe midway through the year, but inevitably you still can gain a lot of what you miss by not watching games through the analytics. I can generally tell you kind of how the story of a game went based on just looking at kind of some box score and some advanced number stuff. But it always starts with kind of the numbers and the analytics, and then you start to overlay matchup stuff on top of that, and you start backing yourself into some pretty good positions typically.
Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Gavin McCarthy, awesome follow on X at Barry Trays. We'll get into these previews here with the Illinois-UConn game. I have to ask you this. How much stock do you put in with Dan Hurley's recent success in the tournament and the fact that they have covered every game but one going back the last 3+ years?
It can't not hurt. That I know. I don't know how much to exactly pull through from this year, just given, this team is much different looking than the two previous kind of championship winning teams. But, it's obviously something that you have to take into account. And not only that, but think about one of those games during that run was, the emphatic thumping with the 30-0 run in the, Sweet 16, I think, when they try to challenge Klingon at the rim over and over and went unsuccessfully. So you also have that kind of swirling over as an externality of this game.
Okay. So you've had, 4 or 5 days to think about the matchup then. What is your breakdown of Illinois and UConn?
Yeah, first thing is both these teams are outside the top 330 in average offensive possession length. So don't expect much pace here. I mean, Dan Hurley's obviously an elite tactician. Brad Underwood has really changed things up yet again for another year. And this team has gone from kind of more of the spread and pace offenses of years prior to really more of a half-court base set. So while you won't get good pace, both these offenses set up extremely well versus one another. UConn's going to hard hedge plenty with Terrace Reed. And Illinois has absolutely nuked hard hedge all year in the Big Ten. They saw a ton of it, but their offense is kind of tailor-made to beat that with the spacing that they have, the skill of their bigs, really having 2 to 3 on-ball mismatch hunters on the floor at all times. They can definitely, have routes to beating that UConn hard hedge and generating some really good looks from three. But consequently, on the other side, really one of the ways to beat these kind of jumbo lineups that Illinois deploys is to do a ton away from the ball and have those bigs chasing guys through screens, play after play after play. And, Dan Hurley and staff are as good as it gets in the business in that department. I mean, they are kind of the off-ball kind of final boss, in a sense. So that's, both these offenses, I do expect some decent efficiency, even though we won't get great pace. So generally that's how I see it breaking down on both sides.
Does it change anything for you with these totals because you're playing with the bad shooting background in these cavernous arenas?
Yeah, I mean, I tend not to put a ton of stock into that. Someone actually put up a reply to one of my posts that I think had some numbers that I should probably go back and look, but I thought he was saying it was relatively negligent with that stuff. So I tend to not factor that because, one, I don't know how to quantify what it's worth to the line. And so at that point, it's not really just kind of a numbers exercise. It's more of like a kind of feel-based thing that you're going to have to figure out, which is typically not really where I want to be playing with my style.
Gavin, is there a player or two with props that you're looking at in that game?
So a couple of good spots. I mean, David Mirkovic is going to have a pretty favorable matchup playing the Illinois booty ball against, an undersized Alex Karaban, or, if they use Jalen Stewart or Ross on him. That's kind of one area he could have some pretty good success. I don't think UConn is going to be doubling him much because you can't really pull guys off shooters against that Illinois team. So you kind of take your chances. If they score twos, that's fine. Terrace Reed has been just unbelievable, right? I mean, highest usage rate of anybody left in the tournament. He's basically like third in assist rate as well as a big man. So this is also a much tougher matchup. Illinois is elite post defense, so less on Terrace, but also the Karaban threes prop is another good spot for the same reasons I mentioned with some of those bigger lumbering bigs having to chase him through screens. And he's been their best player against Tier A competition all year pretty consistently.
All right, excellent. And most people see this as the championship game in the late game. What's your takeaways from Arizona and Michigan, please?
Yeah, I mean, goodness, these teams are so similar, right? They're kind of the poster children of the new era of college basketball with these jumbo lineups, as teams have kind of moved away from kind of the Warriors 5-out-esque that really Illinois has, and more kind of towards these jumbo sets that are a little higher floor, less susceptible to shot variance. We have the top two defenses on KenPom, best two-way rim units in the country. Both these teams want to run, and both these teams want to get to the rim. Now, Michigan is pretty elite in both those areas in terms of limiting transition and limiting paint touches. But Arizona's basically proved it all year that they're just gonna shove it into the paint basically at will every possession as much as they can. So I think one factor you have to consider here is Arizona might be the most physical front court in the country, and you can't really play over Michigan, but you might be able to play through them, especially when you get Mara in trouble. So that's really where it sets up kind of well for Michigan, for Arizona. But on the other side, like Michigan has more outs offensively with the way they utilize the three-point arc at a much higher volume. So they could push a math ball advantage, and Arizona being kind of the shot volume wagon that they've been all year. If they can't do that and they're going to win the math ball from the perimeter, then, they're going to be up against it themselves.
Gavin, do you do power ratings as well, or do you just say, give me the match, I'm going to break it down one game at a time?
I don't do my own power ratings. I will next year, but, just leaving a sell-side M&A job kind of frees up 80 hours a day basically to do that stuff. But we also have, like, KenPom is probably the best model for any sport when you look at, how close the lines are to his projections every time. So if you have the model, you just know how to poke holes in it and where it might have deficiencies. That tends to be where I go. With
only 3 games left, is there a future to be made at all, in your opinion? Is it too late for that? Would you look at a most outstanding player for the tournament? Anything?
Tell you what, I heard you guys talking about that Terrace Reed. That is definitely a misprice. I don't know if UConn really has a ton of outright equity, but I think there is a component of, there's no other real discussion for UConn in terms of who wins it, just with what he's done in the postseason. So I wouldn't mind that. And then, probably Keaton Wagler would probably be the next guess. If I wanted to think that there's some value, I think Illinois is probably a little more live and can hold up with their interior size against some of the two jumbo teams on the other side. So I wouldn't mind that as well. Those would probably be the two areas I'd look.
Very good. Gavin, dynamite appearance, man. And your breakdowns are as good as I've ever seen on X. You can follow him there at Buried Trays. Thanks so much for popping on the show today, and best of luck this weekend.
Much appreciated. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
There you go. Gavin McCarthy on the Progressive guest line. Pretty good.
The complaints are hilarious. It's just
The one guy said,
well, it's a lot to read.
yeah, it's a lot. There's no bet.
No play.
No play?
Get that? It's
You wrote all of that and no play? And he's like, if that was your takeaway, I can't help you.
Yeah, right.
You can probably try to read between the lines.
Yeah. Teach a man to fish. Oh, that was good. Yeah.
Oh.
Unbelievable.
All right, let's follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. We're live in Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Dare I say the best NBA card we've had in months. We'll handicap games and go over bets that we have. I can't believe it. We were all looking forward to this game, and then all of a sudden the news about an hour ago, oh, not playing tonight.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome in, live in Vegas. Circa Resort and Casino is your spot. As always, more college basketball here as we go out to the Progressive guest line. Jay Billis does great work throughout the entire college basketball year on ESPN, and he joins us now. Hey, Jay, thanks for the time today. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Doing really well. How many times have you watched the finish of that Duke-UConn game so far?
Oh, God. I mean, you've seen it a million times. I didn't really go back and watch the tape of it yet, but I've seen the last minute. I don't know. You can't avoid it. It's all over the place, and rightfully so. It should be.
I think I watched it, no joke, 100 times on Sunday, just like the final couple. I'm like, what? How? How did this happen? How did he hit that shot? And the place was like completely silent. And then as soon as it goes through the net, I mean, that's all you could hear. And then, you know, the people lost their mind, obviously. So like you, I mean, I couldn't stop watching it overall. Can you still believe, though, how it played out like that at the very end in that final possession for Duke?
Well, yeah, I can believe it because I watched it and saw it. But, you know, it's like any great sort of ending or buzzer-beating ending. I think the difference is, you know, one team was down and you kind of thought, okay, well, Duke should win. And then it flipped so quick. But, I mean, we saw the same thing or similarly when Santa Clara and Kentucky played. I mean, you had back-to-back go-ahead shots there. So I think the stage was one thing, the fact that it was Duke and UConn, you know, two all-time great programs. And then just how the script got flipped so quickly, it was improbable to the point of you thought it was probably impossible when they were down late to have come back and won. It was amazing, really.
I saw you doing another interview. What is Boozer coached to do in that situation?
Caden Boozer, you mean?
Yes, sir.
He's supposed to catch the ball with 2 feet on the ground and then turn and face the defense and then make a decision. And, you know, you do that drill just about every day in practice, at least at Duke. In my time there and after, it's called four-coach passing drill. You just sort of, you know, you catch, Coach K, John Shire, they all say catch and face. You know, catch, face the defense, not catch and dribble, not catch and turn. Stuff like that, or catch the ball looking back. You catch, pivot, and face, and then he could have decided what to do. Maybe it was going to be back dribble or dribble around the pressure, or pass fake and then throw around it. Whatever. He had 2 players that were deep. That if he gets it to them, the game's over. But you know, you tend to, when you try to throw over a trap, you're throwing through high hands and. Those things get deflected sometimes, and it got deflected. And, you know, so it's not just the turnover, it's the turnover and the fact that UConn was able to turn it into a step in, you know, 35-footer and make it, you know, the improbability of all that's pretty incredible. But UConn was really poised at the end. But, you know, anytime you win or lose, when you win, your mistakes are diminished. And when you lose, your mistakes are magnified. Mm-hmm. And I bet if you sat Danny Hurley down and said, did you guys execute your defensive game plan there the way you wanted? He'd say no. You know, I saw him say, you know, we're fouling Sarr and Gungba. Those are the 2 guys we want to foul. And so they wanted an initial trap, which they got. But once the ball was thrown out of the trap by Cameron Boozer, Dame Sarr had it. It's one of the guys they wanted to foul, and they were nowhere near him. So, they made it work. Like, not everything's going to be perfect in a basketball game, and when it's not perfect, you have to fix it and make the play. And UConn fixed it, and Duke didn't.
Yeah, well said. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Jay Billis, our guest. He's on the Progressive guest line. So let's spin it forward here with UConn by going backwards first. They played Illinois on November 28th, which feels like an eternity ago. They won that game by 13 points. Now, that was in Madison Square Garden. Does that mean anything to you for this game coming up on Saturday?
No, I don't think it means anything to them either. They'll certainly watch the tape and see if they can glean anything from it. But the teams were so different back then, both of them. Especially Illinois, they're completely different than they were back then because Illinois has got a lot of, they're basically a new team from last year. So they were just getting to know each other. And, Keaton Wagler only scored 3 points and is a different team. So, there may be some familiar feeling coming from the game. I tend to think that the team that loses that game, a game like that, when the two teams have played before, tends to have a little bit of edge in preparation. I don't think it gives them an edge in the game. But there's a lot on the line here. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of backward looking. There's too much in front of you to be, motivated by and inspired by.
How would you defend and try to take away Reed?
Well, you have to show him a lot of bodies. There's not going to be one guy that's going to guard him. I think the difficulty when you play UConn is they run a lot of complicated actions. And so there's going to be a ton of cutting and moving without the ball. So it's going to require processing that. And oftentimes their initial action is just to set you up for something later. And it's not always the first cutter. It's the second cutter. You take a shortcut. They're going to take advantage of it. They take advantage of switches. And then, Reed is able to seal inside. Once he gets an angle on you, he's so big and strong, you're kind of dead. But it's not like UConn's got a traditional, kind of pounded inside game. And, exactly where the post feeds are going to come from. You're going to have to stick to your principles against them. And you have to make a lot of decisions. And that's the hard part is they take advantage. They know that defenses are going to make a mistake with the ball moving as much as it does because you're going to have to readjust your position all the time. And that's usually where their open shots came from. And, in the game against Duke, Duke defended well, but UConn missed a lot of open shots. And, their offense had gotten them some really good shots. They just didn't make. And they made them late, and they hung in there, which was the most important part. They kept grinding throughout the game and they never stopped taking them. That's one thing Danny Hurley does a great job of. If a guy's not hitting shots, like keep shooting, and because he knows they're going to hit them because they're good.
Who do you think wins?
I think UConn will, but who knows? Nobody knows this stuff. But Illinois is favored in the game. Like Illinois does some things that are most people don't think about. Like they're very low turnover. They're the only team left in the Final Four that averages less than 10 turnovers a game. They're under 9. And they don't foul very often. So they defend without fouling. So they don't put you on the foul line. And that's where a lot, like Michigan and Arizona especially, those two teams make more free throws than their opponents attempt. And then Illinois is an outstanding offensive rebounding team. They get a lot of second shots. So even if they're, not making shots, they got a lot of second opportunities. And they can spread the floor on you. They've got a bunch of skilled players, and they've got positional size. So they're going to be difficult to beat. Maybe because of the factors I mentioned. Maybe Vegas is right in having them favored. I just tend to favor UConn in the game.
Okay, how about Michigan and Arizona? And if Michigan continue to shoot like this from 3?
Yeah, Michigan. They're both these teams are legit, and they're so good that people are talking about should you reseed the Final Four, and I think that's kind of silly. One, if you reseed it, there's no guarantee you get those two teams in the final. So at least we get that game, whether it's in the semi or the final. At least you get to see it. But Arizona's a pounded inside team. The majority of their offense is going to come from the paint, and they must have half their games they score 50 or more points in the paint. They're not a prolific three-point shooting team. They shoot a good percentage, but they don't take that many of them. And their top 2 scorers are freshmen. Actually, 3 of their top 4 scorers are freshmen. But their size is impressive, and another very good offensive rebounding team. So if they don't make it, they're crashing the glass and getting second chance opportunities. But really the trick against them, and it's hard to do because they're so big and so strong and resolute to get the ball inside. You can't foul them. You put them on the free throw line, they shoot 30 free throws. It's going to be game over. But,
sure.
Michigan runs a lot of good stuff, and they're going to be tough for Arizona to guard because they've got a lot of skilled players that can move around. And Yaxel Lendeborg is a unique player. Last year, only 2 players in the country led their teams in scoring, rebounding, assists, steals, and blocks. It was Cooper Flagg at Duke and Yaxel Lendeborg at UAB. He's the real deal.
Yeah, no doubt. Jay, great stuff. Thanks so much for the time today. Enjoy the games this weekend.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Jay Billis, college basketball on ESPN, joined us here on the Progressive guest line.
Great answer on what Boozer was coached to do.
For sure.
As he went to Duke and those. That was phenomenal. I still can't believe it.
No, neither can I.
No. Good point, though. UConn wasn't knocking down shots. Still came back, though.
Yep. Up next, we're going to touch on baseball coming up. We'll give you a system play at vsin.com that is up 30 units since the beginning of last year. Coming up on Follow the Money, it's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.